Okay, we are going to get started here. Welcome to the Friday morning yoga class. The class will be 45 minutes in length. You won't need any equipment for today's class, so just a floor, or if you have a yoga mat, that would be great. No shoes needed, barefoot would work just fine. The focus on today's class will be a lot of lower body movements. So we'll be working on the hips, hamstrings, and quad areas. And then just before you make your way onto your mat, before we get started, just take a quick look around, make sure that you don't have anything that you can trip over, make sure that it's clear of any hazards around you. With that being said, always go at your own pace. Take breaks as needed. If at any point you feel faint, dizzy, shortness of breath, you know your body best, stop at any time and stop exercising. So we're going to get started here. I'm going to make my way to my mat. Before we get started, if at any point you find that music works well for you, you want to have a little playlist going in the background, you're welcome to do so. I will plan on sharing my playlist in the next upcoming weeks. But yeah, so we're going to make our way onto our mat in a laying down position. We're going to bring the legs nice and long against our mat. If that creates too much sensations for the back of the hamstrings, you can allow the knees to remain bent. But if it's comfortable, legs nice and long, arms nice and long along the body. And just begin to notice the parts of your body that rest against your mat. So notice the back of the head, the shoulders. Can you allow the shoulders to soften so you feel a sense of openness across the front of the chest? Notice the natural curves of the spine and which parts rest against your mat. Notice the hips, the thighs, the calves and the heels. And then draw that awareness inward and then just begin to notice your breath. So notice the natural inhales and exhales through the nose. Notice the rise and fall of the abdomen. Take a couple more breaths here. Maybe begin to expand the inhale as you breathe in through the nose. And then as you exhale, actively drawing the abdomen in, almost as if you're attempting to empty the lungs completely. Another full cycle of breath here. Deep inhale. And an even deeper exhale. On your next inhale, you're going to inhale, lift the arms overhead. Fingertips reach towards the back wall behind you, like you're taking a nice morning stretch, stretching from the tip of your fingers all the way to the tips of your toes. Take a full cycle of breath here. Feel the stretch from one end to the other. And then as you exhale, draw the right knee in towards the body. So right knee bent, thigh coming in towards the body, interlacing the fingertips over that right shin. So the left leg is nice and long against your mat still. Take the full inhale here. Maybe as you exhale, you draw that thigh closer. Back of the shoulder blades still rooted on your mat. And then that left leg is nice and long. Maybe the foot is even flexed. Another full cycle of breath here. Full inhale. And then as you exhale, release the right thigh down. On your next inhale, you're going to lift the arms overhead around you. Fingertips reach the back wall. Another big morning stretch. And then as you exhale, this time left thigh will come into the body. Interlacing the fingertips again below that left knee. Right leg nice and long, right foot flexed. Take a couple cycles of breath here, in and out through the nose. And then maybe with every exhale, you draw that thigh closer for one more breath. And then as you exhale, left leg comes down. One more big morning stretch. As you inhale, lift the arms overhead, fingertips reach that back wall, big stretch. And then as you exhale, this time both knees come in towards the body. Give yourself a hug. So rock from side to side, massaging that low back. Notice how the curvature of that low back, low spine area flattens out towards your mat, and then just massage that. See how that feels? And now you can begin to rock forward and back, creating momentum along the spine until you make your way to seated. Or if you'd like, you can always turn over to one side and press yourself up. And then once you make your way to seated, you're going to make our way into a tabletop position. So we're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And then from here, we're just going to begin to bring movement to the spine, just to bring a little bit more of warmth there. So we're going to do a couple rounds of cat-cow. So the tops of the feet may be flat on your mat, or the toes may be curled, whatever brings you more balance. And then from here, you're going to take a nice deep inhale, draw the belly button down towards the earth as the tailbone curls up to the sky. Pressing the palms down, you look forward, maybe slightly up. In cow pose here, take a full cycle of breath, full inhale. As you exhale, you draw the chin into the chest. Begin to arc the spine like a rainbow up towards the sky, belly button drawn in, and then the hips slightly move forward. Pressing the palms into the mat or the earth beneath you, really feel that expansion or the space you're creating in between the shoulder blades and the back body. Take a full cycle of breath here, chin still tucked in. And then as you exhale, begin to uncurl, unwind the spine, making your way back into cow. Full cycle of breath here in cow. And then at your own personal breath, as you exhale, chin tucks in one more time, arcing the spine like a Halloween cat up towards the sky. Hold here for a full cycle of breath. And then as you exhale, slowly come back to neutral table. Awesome. We're going to bring a little bit of movement into the hips now. So from here, we're going to take a nice deep inhale, place both palms nicely rooted into the mat. And then as you exhale, that right leg is going to extend nice and long back behind you. So from here, your both palms are rooted into the mat and one knee is rooted. So notice where your body begins to dump in some of the weight. So adjust so that the weight feels nice and distributed against the palms and the knees here. And then from here, flex that right foot so that right thigh behind you is nice and engaged. Take a full inhale here. And then as you exhale, left hand, so opposite hand from leg is going to extend out in front of you. So left hand, right arm here, full inhale, stretch on opposite sides. And then as you exhale, allow the elbow and knee to touch. So drawing the body in. We're going to inhale, extend out. We're going to do 3 more. Exhale, elbow and knee touch. Beautiful. 2 more. Inhale, extend out, stretching left arm, right leg. Exhale, drawing it in. 1 more time. Inhale, extend the right leg, left arm out to reach, reach, reach. And then slowly come down. Then we're going to do the other side. So palms rooted, fingertips spread nice and wide. Take a full inhale here. As you exhale, left leg stretches out behind you. So left foot nice and flexed. Again, notice where the body is placing more weight. Find nice distribution there. Full inhale here, left thigh engaged. As you exhale, right arm reaches out in front of you. Stretch to the fingertips and that left foot here, full inhale. As you exhale, elbow and knee touch. We're going to do 3 more. Inhale, extend out, left leg engaged. Exhale, elbow and knee touch. 2 more. Inhale, lengthening from opposite sides. Exhale, elbow and knee touch. 1 more. Inhale, extend out, reaching out. Exhale, elbow and knee touch. Palm and knee come down. Curl the back of the toes. Lift through the knees, find downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, we're going to bring the feet a nice distance apart. And we're going to pedal out the feet here, just warming up the body. Shake the head yes. Shake the head no. Just see how the back of the thighs and hamstrings feel. Notice how the spine and neck feel for a couple more breaths. 1 more breath here. And then as you exhale, you're going to look forward in between the palms. Walk both feet forward. Come into a forward fold. Head hangs heavy. From here, you can bend the knees as much as you need to alleviate any sensations in the back of the hamstrings or low back. Then you can bring the hands to either side of the feet if that feels comfortable, or the hands can rest at the shins. From here, head hangs heavy. Take a full cycle of breath in and out through the nose. And then on your next inhale, slowly uncurl the spine, head coming up last, making your way to standing. Awesome. So from here in our standing position, we're going to take a nice deep inhale, deep exhale through the nose, find equal standing posture, or sama feet to feet. Equal standing posture, the feet are nice and rooted, the thighs are engaged, the kneecaps are lifted, arms to either side of the body, shoulders to either side of the room, so the chest is nice and wide, chin parallel to the earth. And then from here, inhale, both arms up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, fold forward. Inhale, belly rises halfway up, hands to the shins. Exhale, fold, plant the palms. We're gonna walk both feet back into a plank position. In plank here, you can descend your way, finding baby cobra or upward facing dog, meeting in downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, take a full cycle of breath, deep inhale, deep exhale. On your next inhale, that right leg is going to reach up towards the sky behind you. Point the toes, feel the charge on the right leg. Full inhale here. As you exhale, draw that right foot forward in between both palms. We're going to descend the left knee here, so we're coming into a low lunge. We're going to inhale, bring the arms up, palms touch. From here, we're going to exhale, bring the palms to either side of the body. So you're going to frame that right foot. Then from here, you're going to begin to extend that right leg out in front of you. So the right toes will begin to aim up towards the sky. The glutes are reaching back towards that left heel. But find a position where you feel comfortable, where you're not overexerting that left thigh or putting too much weight in it, but you're still getting a stretch as well along the back of the right thigh. You can use the fingertips here to press down, so you lengthen through the spine here. Take a full cycle of breath. Maybe for an extra challenge, you walk the hands forward and hold there. On your next exhale, slowly begin to walk the hands forward if they're not already there. Pressing down that right foot, curl the back of the left toes, engage that left leg, step the right foot back into plank. From here, full inhale. As you exhale, lower your way, finding your flow. Meeting in downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, you're going to take a full cycle of breath. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. When you're ready, left leg reaches back up to the sky, toes pointed. Full inhale here. As you exhale, left foot comes forward in between the palms. Descending the right foot this time. Inhaling up, palms reach up. Exhale, palms to either side of the body for balance. Begin to walk the hips back towards that right heel. Left leg extends. Maybe the left toes reach up to the sky. Again, you can use the hands for balance. Find strength in the spine, lengthen through the spine here. One more breath. Maybe you reach the arms out. And then as you exhale, slowly root that left foot down, frame the palms around the left foot. The left foot steps back into plank. Full inhale here, lower or descend your way. Meeting in downward facing dog. In downward facing dog here, we're going to take 2 breaths, breathing in and out through the nose. I'm just going to make my way quickly over to the camera, make sure everything is okay. One more breath here. As you exhale, you're going to look forward in between the palms, walk or jump both feet forward, come into a forward fold. Inhale, belly rises halfway up. Exhale, fold. Head hangs heavy. Inhale all the way up to standing. Arms come up. Exhale, hands to either side. Awesome. We're going to do one more, a little bit more quickly this time, with a little bit more momentum. And we're going to do a high lunge instead of a low lunge. So we're going to inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, belly rises, hands to the shins. Exhale, plant the palms, walk both feet back into plank. And plank here, full inhale, exhale, lower your way. Finding baby cobra or upward dog as you shine the heart forward. Meeting in downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, full cycle of breath, deep inhale, deep exhale. On your next breath, right foot comes forward and between the palms, root both heels here, high lunge. Inhale, come up, find warrior one. So in warrior one, there's a little bit of depth in that right thigh, so bending that right knee. The back foot is nice and rooted, so the foot can be slightly on a 45-degree angle, and the corner edges of the hips are slightly aiming towards the front edge of the room. Arms come up, maybe the palms touch. Maybe you find a steady gaze towards your thumb here for one more breath. As you exhale, windmill the arms, framing that right foot steps back into plank, cycling through a flow, meeting in downward facing dog. So the same thing we did to the right side, we do to the left. So a full cycle of breath here. On your next breath, left foot comes forward in between the palms, rooting both feet here, coming up through warrior one. See? Knowing what posture came next. Maybe you're a little bit more comfortable finding ease into it. Finding a steady gaze here, both legs nice and rooted. As you exhale, windmill the arms, root the palms down, left foot steps back into plank, cycling through your flow. And then always meeting in downward facing dog. At any point, if you're feeling like you could use a little break and downward facing dog isn't your favorite posture, you can always come down into child's pose. So knees would come down, hips towards the heels, forehead rooted. But just an option if you're not feeling downward facing dog. There's always other postures you can do in between. So let's keep going. If you're still with it, we're going to look forward in between the palms. Walk or jump both feet forward, coming to a forward fold. Inhale, belly rises halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, all the way up to standing, arms come up. Exhale, hands side to side. Awesome. So now that we've warmed ourselves up a little bit, we're going to come into one of my favorite postures known as chair pose. So we're going to pretend as if there's an imaginary chair behind us. So we're going to bring the feet a nice distance apart, about hip distance. And if you don't know what that is, you can create a fist with both hands and kind of place them in between both feet. And that's a rough estimate or guesstimate on hip distance, but you can kind of play around with it as you go. From here, lift through the kneecaps, find the thighs nice and engaged. Begin to tilt the hips or the pelvis back as if you're beginning to sit back into that imaginary chair. And notice how the abdomen draws in here. So draw the abdomen in so it's nice and supported. Take a full inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to begin to sit down into that imaginary chair. Hold there, belly drawn in. As you inhale, bring the hands to heart center, thumb against the chest. Inhale deeply here. As you exhale, we're going to come into a gentle twist. So we're going to twist over to our right. So as you twist over to your right side, your left elbow might hook on the outside of the right knee. And then from here, when you're twisting over to your right side, that right shoulder is really reaching up towards the sky. So you're opening up to the front of the chest, finding a gentle twist through the spine, finding depth through the hips. So full body movement here. Full inhale here. As you exhale, untwist, come through center, come into a forward fold, release the thighs, head hangs heavy. Giving you a nice little break here, you can pedal out the feet. We're going to slowly come into a twist onto the left side or the other side if you got your lefts and rights confused. So from here, we're going to come bending through the knees, sitting through that imaginary chair here as you inhale, hands to heart center. As you exhale, twisting over to your left side. So right elbow on the outside of the left knee. As you twist over to the left, left shoulder reaching up to the sky. Breathing here, full inhale. As you exhale, come through center, release the thighs, fold forward, head hangs heavy. Inhale, belly rises halfway up. Exhale, fold, plant the palms, walk or jump both feet to plank. Descend your way as you exhale. Shining the heart forward, baby cobra or upward dog. Kneeling and downward facing dog. And downward facing dog, take a full cycle of breath. Full inhale, full exhale through the nose. On your next cycle of breath, right foot is going to come forward in between the palms. We're going to descend the left knee here, so coming into that low lunge again. And then from here, we're just going to inhale, torso rises, hands to the hips. So from here, we're going to bring a little bit of depth and a stretch to this left corner of the hip. So if it feels more comfortable for the knee or more supported, you can bring a cloth or a blanket to the knee or even fold your mat. But if your knee feels okay here, that's great. From here, you're going to begin to allow the right knee to in towards the front end of the room as you lunge deep into that left corner of the hip. If you want more depth here, you can lift the back of the left foot here and the left foot lifted. If it feels comfortable for your shoulder and your thighs, you can catch the left foot with the left hand. But again, there's lots of different depths in the posture. So you can kind of stay here in the low lunge. You can kind of come forward a little bit, see how that feels to the left corner of the hip. Or for even more depth, lifting that left foot. So play around with it here. You have a few breaths in the posture. And then once you feel you found that seat and steadiness, just hold there. Hold there for a full cycle of breath. As you exhale, you're holding on to the foot, slowly bring the foot down. Palms frame that right foot as the right foot steps back into plank. You can cycle through a flow here, descending, whichever way works best for you. And then again, meeting in downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, take a full cycle of breath in and out through the nose. We're going to do the same thing on the right side. So when you're ready, left foot comes forward in between the palms, descending that right knee here. So that low lunge once again on the other side. And then from here, lifting through the torso, you can bring the hands to the hips for balance. And then you're going to find that range of motion or depth that works best for you. And then notice one side of the hip might feel a little bit more differently than the other. I'm going to lift my right foot here, catch my right foot with my right hand. And then the left hand can rest on the left thigh, on the hip for balance. If you're holding on to the foot and you find that this depth works for you today, and always intensify it by bringing the foot closer to the glute. See how that feels, or lessening it by getting the foot further away from the glute. So then that'll bring the stretch from the corner of the hip into the front of the thigh or the quadricep. As you exhale, slowly lower the foot if you were holding on to it. Left foot steps back into plank, and then you cycle through a flow. Meeting in downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, take a full cycle of breath here. Full inhale, full exhale. We're going to come into a couple postures here for our hips. First one's going to be warrior two. So we're going to bring the right foot forward in between both palms. We're going to root through both heels here. We're going to inhale up, transition through warrior one. From here, we're going to come into warrior two, but I'll just guide you how to get into it. So we're going to bring the hands to the hips. We're going to look back at that left foot. So similar to warrior one, when our foot was kind of in a 45-degree angle, this time we're going to pivot onto that left foot. So the toes are kind of parallel forward. The outer edge of the left foot is kind of parallel to the short end of our mat. So there's more openness in the hips. And then from here, you can find more depth in that right thigh. And you're opening up through the front of the chest, arms to either side. So the hips are slightly positioned a little bit more differently than they were in Warrior One. And then from here, finding a steady gaze, looking forward, arms to either side, breathing in and out through the nose. Maybe you find more depth on that thigh here for one more breath. As you exhale, you're going to release that right thigh, bring the hands to the hips. You're going to pivot onto the right foot this time. We're going to come into a wide stance forward fold. So toes facing forward, nice and wide, hands to the hips, full inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to hinge from the hips, begin to fold forward. The head is going to come in between the feet or the thighs. And from here, the range of motion may be different for all of us. You can bend the knees as much as you need to. You can bring the hands to the shins if that feels better. You bring the hands to the mat so that they're kind of in line with the feet. You can bring the hands out in front of you so you can bring a stretch to the upper body. Play around with it. We're here for a few breaths. Breathing in and out through the nose. One more breath. So slowly and surely, we're going to walk around our mat here. So that right foot is going to go back to point forward. And this is what makes it fun with online classes, because I don't know what way you're facing. We're going to come in towards, as if we're doing Warrior Two again. Bring the hands around that right foot steps back into plank. Full inhale here, and then lower your way. Always meeting in downward facing dog. And then from this point forward, as we're all in downward facing dog, you can choose to continue to cycle through a flow every time it's cued in. Or if you'd like to skip it from this point forward, you can, and just meet us in downward facing dog. Okay, let's do Warrior Two on the other side. So when you're ready, left foot will come forward in between the palms. Both heels rooted here. So that right foot is going to pivot slightly outwards a bit more so that the outer edge is parallel towards that outer edge on the mat behind you. Then inhale, open up, arms to either side of the room. And then finding that steady gaze and in front of you, past the fingertips. And finding depth through that left thigh this time if you'd like. One more breath here. When you're ready, you're going to release the left thigh. We're going to come into a wide stance fold again. So you're going to pivot those toes to meet the right toes. So both edges of the feet are facing the edges of your mat. I'm going to turn around to face you. Turn that wide forward fold stance again. Although this time we're going to bring the hands out behind us. Interlace the fingertips so that you create a fist behind you. And then from here, you begin to hinge forward from the hips, right, aiming towards the earth and in between the feet. And then the arms reach out up towards the sky. So the fist that you created with the hands are aiming up. And then again, if this feels too intense for the shoulders, you can always bend the elbows. You can let the palms or the fist you created rest on the low back. And then over time, lengthen through the arms. Over time, lifting the arms up towards the sky. Hold here for another cycle of breath. On your next inhale, use the strength of the arms. Inhale, lift the body up. You're going to pivot those toes again. So you're going to pivot the left toes out in front of you, right toes behind, coming into the Warrior Two stance with the legs. Bring arms to frame that left foot. Left foot steps back into plank. Cycling through a flow or skipping it and going into downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, you'll take 2 breaths. Breathing in and out through the nose. One more breath. As you exhale, look forward in between the hands. Walk or jump both feet forward. Inhale, belly rises halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up to standing arms. Come up. And then exhale, hands to either side. Awesome. So we're just going to do 2 more stretches in our standing series and then slowly make our way onto the floor. So we're going to do triangle posture next. So with this one, we're just going to take a big step back with our left foot and do triangle on the right side. So with triangle, the legs are positioned similar to how they were in warrior one. So that back foot is going to be slightly on a 45-degree angle. The hips, or the corner edges of the hips, are kind of angled so that they're in between the inner seams of the thighs, so that they're not kind of slightly facing forward, but they're kind of on an angle here. And then from here, you're going to reach that right arm out in front of you, left hand to the hips. Reach out. You can't reach anymore, and then you begin to hinge from that right hip, and then the right hand can come and rest on the shin, or it can come to rest on the inside of the right foot, whatever feels better for you, and whatever feels more comfortable in order to allow you to open up through the front side body through the shoulders again, so that that left shoulder is reaching up towards the sky, so that the left arm comes up. So a triangle, find the hand position that works best for you. And then if there's any sensations in the back of the neck where it doesn't feel so comfortable, you don't always necessarily have to look up. You can look down, see how that feels. Hold there for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And then slowly allow your gaze to look down if you're not already there. Bring the palms to frame that right foot. Left foot steps forward, come into a forward fold. Inhale, belly rises halfway up, hands to the shins, really lengthen through the crown of the head. Belly drawn in here. Exhale, fold. And then inhale all the way up. Arms come up. Exhale, hands to either side. Awesome. We'll do triangle on the other side. So this time, big step back with the right foot steps back. From here, find a nice position with the hips that work well for you. When you're ready, left hand parallel to the earth, lifting up. Right hand to the hip. Reach, reach, reach until you can't reach anymore with the left fingertips. And then hinge forward from that left hip. Again, maybe the range of motion or depth here is a little different. So left hand to the shin, inside of the left foot, or even maybe resting on the thigh. Play around with it. And then right shoulder twists up towards the sky, right arm up. 2 breaths here. Breathing in and out through the nose. 1 more breath. Slowly as you exhale, look down towards the left foot, framing the left foot with both hands. Right foot comes forward into a forward fold. Head hangs heavy. We're going to inhale, lift the belly up to a 90-degree angle, hands at the shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up to standing arms, come up. Exhale, hands to either side. Awesome. We're going to do tree posture next, and then we'll make our way to the floor. So tree posture, we're going to do the right leg first. So we're going to really engage the left leg, left thigh. So we're not dumping into the hip. The thigh is nice and engaged. Foot is rooted. And from here, that right foot is going to lift up. So the toes perhaps are still resting on your mat, and the sole of the right foot is resting on the inside of that left ankle, left shin area. Or maybe you're lifting the foot a little bit higher onto the calf, or maybe even higher to the upper thigh. Find what works better for you. And then you're always aiming for that right knee to open up to the right side of the room. So that right hip is opening up. And then when you're ready, Your foundations are rooted, and maybe you can inhale, float the arms up. Maybe you challenge yourself and find a steady gaze, your choice. Inhale deeply, exhale. Slowly bring the arms down, right foot comes down. Then we'll do the other side. So right leg nice and engaged, foot is rooted. Find a position that works best for the left foot. Your hands can stay at the hips, or like the foundations of a tree, rooted through the lower body and light through the branches, floating the arms up. Finding a steady gaze here. Maybe closing the eyes for an extra challenge. And then when you're ready, left leg comes down. Awesome, we're gonna cycle through one more flow before we make our way to the ground. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, belly rises halfway up, hands to the shins. Exhale, fold, plant the palms, walk both feet back into plank. Full inhale here, exhale, lower your weight. Shining the heart forward. And then this time, instead of meeting in downward facing dog, you're just gonna come right into child's pose. So knees nice and wide, hips towards the heels, forehead resting on your mat. Arms nice and long out in front of you. And take a couple breaths here, just noticing how the body moves as the breath begins to slow down. Notice how the back of the rib cage moves. Just bring awareness to that. Take a couple more breaths here. One more breath. And then slowly come through table. Resting one side of the hips onto your mat. Bringing the legs out around. Giving them a nice little shake. And then we're going to come into laying down. We're going to come into a laying down position, spine resting onto the mat or earth beneath you. Knees bent, soles of the feet rooted onto the mat. So from here, we're just going to do two postures and then make our way into our final resting posture known as Shavasana. So first posture here will be bridge. So arms to either side of the body, palms rooted, feet nice and rooted into the mat. You're going to inhale deeply, begin to lift through the hips, lifting the center of the hips up towards the sky. So you can press through the palms, press through the feet. Lift just a little bit more. Maybe you begin to interlace the fingertips behind the back body, creating a fist again. Shoulder blades rooted here. Two more breaths. One more breath. Slowly bring the hips back down when you're ready. We're going to do thread the needle posture next. So keeping the left leg bent, outside of the right ankle is going to rest onto the left thigh. And then from here, stay here if you'd like, creating the shape of a figure four with the thighs. Or if not, begin to lift that left foot up. So the left leg is in a 90-degree angle. You're focusing on that right corner of the hip. So really focus on that right knee, aiming towards the right side of the room. And then for even more depth, you can interlace the fingertips behind the left hamstring or the left shins, your choice. And then maybe with every exhale, if you'd like even more depth, you can draw that left thigh closer to the body. Hold here for two more breaths. And slowly, left foot comes down, right foot comes down. We'll switch sides. So outside of the left ankle now onto the right thigh. And then from here, again, your range of motion might be different today. Stay here if you'd like. just encouraging that left knee to open to the left side of the room. Or for more depth, begin to float that right foot up, interlacing the fingertips where you find works for you. And then if you're interlacing the fingertips and want an extra challenge, maybe with every exhale, you draw that thigh closer. 2 more breaths here. And when you're ready, right foot comes down, left foot comes down. We're going to slowly make our way into final resting posture known as Shavasana or corpse pose. So the same way that we started class, you're going to bring the legs nice and long against your mat with the earth beneath you, arms to either side of the body. Just begin to melt and soften, allowing your body to rest, bringing your body into a conscious stillness, allowing the eyes to close, and just letting the breath move through the body freely. Letting the muscles soften with every exhale. Allowing gravity to just melt the bones. As if the bones are softening. And the muscles are relaxing. You're more than welcome to stay in Shavasana, indulging in the stillness. For even more of a conscious stillness, you're welcome to join into a quick little meditation before we go off into the rest of our day. So again, completely optional, staying in Shavasana, just letting your body relax and rest. Or for a quick meditation, I invite you to roll over onto one side and bring your way to a seated position. In your seated position, still allow the eyes to remain soft here, maybe even closed. Palms can rest onto the knees. And in this seated position, just consciously noticing your breath. So noticing the inhales and exhales through the nose. Noticing the rise and fall of the abdomen. Maybe actively counting the inhale from 1 through 4. And then actively counting the exhale down from 4 to 1. I'll do 2 rounds with you like that. So we'll exhale to prepare. Inhale through the nose for a count of 2, 3, 4, lungs filled with air. And then exhale deeply for 3, breathing out through the nose for 2. Emptying the lungs completely for 1. Final round. Inhale through the nose for 2, 3, 4. Breathing out through the nose, emptying the lungs for 3, 2, 1. Let the breath return to its natural rhythm. And acknowledge that you can access your tool, which is your breath, at any moment throughout the day, on or off your mat. Enjoy the rest of your day. Remember to stay hydrated. Have a wonderful weekend. Namaste. Remember that class runs on Tuesdays at 3:30 and Fridays at 11. So for those of you that want to join in, hopefully I can see you again soon. I make my way closer to the camera so I can see if there are any comments. Hopefully
we'll be building more of a routine structure here. So we'll be starting to have more focuses on classes. And then if you have any suggestions that you'd like to see in the upcoming weeks, you can always let me know. Thanks for joining, Jordan.